Good morning again, everyone. I'm really happy to see you all here today, and I see some people came in when my back was to the door, so I'm happy to see those of you who just entered. This month we've been looking at gentleness, and today we're talking about gentle cosmicness. So when I think about cosmicness, I think about this sitting there and looking out into the vast unknown, recognizing and knowing that we are one with this cosmicness, as Venus so beautifully spoke about in the presiding talk. It's just, there is this power that we're utilizing for our upliftment. And I was part of her talk. I was the one person my job has changed. It's been I really have been doing the surrender. And as she was saying, it's true, everywhere I turn, people seem to be struggling a little bit right now. And there's a lot of different things going on. And the world doesn't feel so gentle right now. I mean, I don't really watch the news, but my clients come and I'm a tennis coach for those of you who don't know. And my clients come on the court and there is some upheaval. They have been watching the news, what's going on in the Middle East. It's just, everything feels very challenging. And the human condition can be really challenging. I mean, quite sadly, I was driving to work yesterday and I got a text from one of my clients whose sweet 14-year-old son, oh man, he got beat up in the bathroom at school on Thursday. And how do you respond to that? A woman whose 14-year-old only child got beat up by some child having a situation. And they rushed him to Children's Hospital. He was unconscious in the bathroom floor, bleeding, and they rushed him to Children's Hospital. He's okay, but he's going to require a lot of surgeries to fix his face. What do you say to a mother when that happens? I called her and I took a big breath before I dialed that number. And when I think about this cosmicness, as Vinu was saying, is that we really need to recognize that there is this divine power. And when we're not connected to that source, that's when this discord, this upset comes. And I think I have a slide here for this. And the greatest good that can come from anyone forming within themselves the absolute certainty of themselves and their relationship to the universe, forever removing the sense of heaven as being outside of themselves. So how do we get to that place where we know that even though it seems that the world is falling apart, that we need to step into our knowing, our individual knowing? I need to know and hold a space for this mom that I don't know why this happened to her child, but I have to know that God is in every aspect of this situation. And when bad things happen to us, is it our fault? No. But what we do afterwards, that's our responsibility. And I was talking to this mom, and I was saying to her, I was just like, I don't know what to say, and I'm so sorry. But perhaps on a bigger vision, looking out, that her child is now going to change the laws at these schools where there will be adult supervision, where these kind of things won't happen. And though her child is struggling and was injured badly, that maybe through this action, he is changing the lives of 100 other kids so they won't have to go through this situation. And so I had to look outside of this human condition right now and obviously give her a lot of love and strength and support, but ponder, and I think of Adam Walsh and losing his son and what he's done for humanity and with America's Most Wanted. And it's hard for me my humanness in this right here, right now, my nurturing just wants to be like, this is so unfair, and it is unfair. There are many different ways to talk about reality, and we are constantly creating our reality through a process of negotiation that we call perception. So it's my perception of the situation. Do I want to run and look at the situation as a horrible, awful thing and just leave it there? Or can I change my perception and be like, God is in the situation also, and how can I turn it around? That's Robert Waterman said that quote. And then everything that touches my life must touch it through the awareness of my consciousness. So I can look at the situation and just step into a higher consciousness about it and not have to understand it, but just have to trust and surrender that I can do something different now. I can make a difference in my life. What the most important thing for us to remember is that we are always causing something to be created for us. That whatever cause we have set in motion must produce some kind of effect. So I am creating my life. And as you've heard me talk about my work closing and trying to find a tennis court, I've been struggling to find another tennis court, and I just kind of surrendered the other day. And I did exactly, I was smiling when Vinu was talking because I just completely surrendered. I'm like, okay, God, if you want me to find a tennis court for my assistant, it is going to show up. And I just kind of let it go. Okay, universe, this is up to you. And I've been feeling stressed, and I've had some chest pains and such, and I think it's because of the stress, but I decided to be proactive and go to a cardiologist. And I asked everyone I knew, do you have a cardiologist? Do you have a cardiologist? And I got a list of about 20. And one of my doctors said, I asked my other doctor, he's like, I go to this doctor across the hall named Dr. Shrek. I'm like, Dr. Shrek. I wonder if his girlfriend's named Fiona. So I went over and I went to see him. And I walked into his office and he was like, well, why are you here? And I'm like, work stress, where I'm working is closing, and I need another tennis court for my assistant. And he looks at me, he's like, I have a tennis court. And I was thinking, I had a list of 20 doctors, and I chose one with a tennis court. And then my mind went, but you probably live in Encino, you're a doctor, you probably live in Calabasas. And I said, where's your court? Sherman Oaks. And I'm like, on Weddington Street? He's like, yeah. I'm like, Weddington and Woodman? He's like, yeah. So literally, there's 13 tennis courts that I Google all the time. And I'm like, there's someone I know right here who has a tennis court. So we have set in motion must produce some kind of an effect. And so he's like, well, I don't know if I want to rent it. My next door neighbor has a court too. Oh, your next door neighbor has a court too. What we set in motion must produce some kind of an effect. So he's like, well, we don't know if we want to rent it or not. And I'm like, well, I did everything but like, please. And and I went on, and I went to the house. I actually do have a private tennis court that I've worked at for like 10 years. And I went there, and I'm like, oh my God, you won't believe it. This guy has a tennis court. And the client says, is his name Shrek? I'm like, yeah. He's like, our kids grew up playing baseball together. I'm like, you know this man? He's like, yeah, we're good friends. So out of a list, let's clarify this. So out of a list of 20 doctors, I chose one because his name was Shrek. He is friends with the person whose house I already coach at. And then I was telling the wife, saying, did your husband tell you what happened? She's like, I didn't understand it. I told her the story. She's like, he's our doctor, Nikki. So out of 20 doctors, I choose the doctor who has the tennis court in the area I'm looking for, who's friends with the people I already know, who I've been teaching at for 10 years. We have set in motion must produce some kind of effect. Now, I don't know if this is going to manifest or not because he's not interested in renting his court at the time, but it's just knowing that the surrender must produce some kind of effect. So knowing in our lives that I am the creative genius of my life, with this awareness and the gentleness I am cultivating, I get to redefine any aspect of my life at any time. Don't even bother beating myself up from a previous bad relationship, choice, experience. I start fresh now and claim them as useful fodder for recognizing the awesomeness of me. I am awesome. I am awesome. Everyone, I am awesome.
I am awesome.
Right? We are all awesome. The universal belief is that supply is outside in the world, that we must struggle to get it. But the truth is, I am supply. Joel Goldsmith said that. I am supply. We must treat ourselves until we have an inner sense of unity. See, you kind of like started this beautiful topic there, if you knew. Always expect the good. Joel Goldsmith says, all we have to do is stop trying to acquire or attain to let that which is already trying to embody within us appear outward as form. That sounds like gentle cosmicness to us. I don't have to force struggle or try. All I have to do is be gentle. Ernest reminds us we are not limited by principle, but by my own inability to see perfection. So when I'm looking out onto the world and I see this political stuff going on, my inability to see perfection is limiting my belief that this world is upsetting. We are guided daily by divine intelligence into a path of peace, wherein the soul recognizes its source and meets it in joyful union, complete and at one-ment. Ernest reminds us that. Spiritual consciousness is a consciousness that no longer hates or fears evil or error. So when I look outside and I see this news going on, that I don't have to be fearful. I don't have to worry that there's not enough. I don't have to worry that supply is limited. It's knowing that whatever is out there is available to everyone. And the only thing that limits us is our limited thinking. Jesus understood, Ernest says, Jesus understood his own nature. He knew that as a human embodies the divine and it manifests the Christ nature, Jesus never thought himself different from any of us. We are exactly as Jesus. So his whole teaching was that what he did, others can do. He located God and the kingdom within himself. Right? These things are more ye shall be able to do. So whatever Jesus did, we can do. My note said, reads page 40. I'm reading this book called Act of Hope right now. And sometimes when we do look out in the world and it feels a little like, what can I do? And if we just start doing one little thing, then maybe that's what we can do to change it. So this is by Joanne Macy, who is a Buddhist, wasn't she a Buddhist scholar, and Chris Johnstone. And they say the work that reconnects us as a personal practice. The spiral provides a structure we can fall back on and into whenever we need to tap into the resilience and resourcefulness arising from the larger web of life. If you're feeling sickened by the disturbing news reports, you can step into gratitude simply by focusing on your breath and taking a moment to give thanks for whatever may be sustaining you in this moment. So what is that one thing that's sustaining you right now? A moment of gratitude grounds us, strengthening our capacity to look at rather than to turn away from disturbing information. Taking a breath, we can look at the disturbing information. We can have those hard phone calls. As you allow yourself to take in whatever you see, allow yourself also to feel whatever you feel. When you experience pain for something beyond your immediate self-interest, this reveals your connection, caring, compassion, your inner being with all life. By honoring your pain for the world in whatever form, you take it seriously and allow it to rouse you. This is a good reminder. You are just one part of a much larger story. We're only this much part of the story right now. A continuous stream of life on Earth that has flowed for more than 3.5 billion years and that has survived 5 mass extinctions. So when we look at our world and climate change, we need to do our part. But this world is self-sustaining. It will continue. When you sink into this deeper, stronger flow and experience yourself as part of it, a different set of possibilities emerge. Widening your vision brings your awareness to resources available to you, since through the very channel of connectedness that pain for the world flows. So too comes strength, courage, renewal, renewed determination, and the help of allies. You can let go of the need to plan everything, every step. Instead, trust your intention and the emerging sequence of events that spring from that. Focus on finding and playing your part. So how do we find this? How do we start this? What do we need to do? I'm trying to hold a space for both sides, the good and the bad, knowing that God is in every aspect. That boy who was struggling and attacked my student in the bathroom and my student, knowing that there's God in both sides of that, sending love to both sides, knowing that Israel and Hamas, sending not to Palestine, sending love to all areas of that. The political front, both sides of the political front, knowing that we can just hold a space of knowing that it's all unfolding. So there's a seven-step process that we can do alone or with someone. And it goes like this. I love. Take a moment, so I'll take a deep breath. I love. I'd like to thank. Gratitude. Gratitude is our grounding. Who would we like to thank? Looking at the future we're heading into, my concerns include facing these concerns. What inspires me? What inspires you? Looking at the future we're heading into, what I deeply hope for is, and in our teaching, we like to know what I deeply know. We know it's possible. We don't have to hope. We know. A part I'd like to play in support of this. Now, this is where we can take our action. We can be proactive, so we don't have to sit here and fall victim to what's going on the news. This is where I can step up and take care of my little part. I could do one little part in this. What is my part that I want to play in this? Because by doing something and going out and being active, it gives us that sense of being part of the community. And then the step I'll take towards this in the next week is, what is something that we want to do this week? What can we go out to the world and do, make better? So this is our possibility. This is the things that we can do and be gentle in this oneness, knowing that I don't have to struggle, I don't have to stress, knowing that there is an opportunity for each and every one of us to go out there and make a difference in our own lives without that struggle and stress. How does that feel? So I'll take a nice deep breath and just let it go and release. There's so much that we can do, and we're not victim to the situation. We can take any situation by our own perception, and what we say so makes it so. Our thoughts are things we can create. We can nurture and love each other, even if we have different beliefs. Beliefs are just our emotions. So let's just know that we are this one loving community. I'm going to invite Teresa to come back up. And I found this poem by John O'Donohue. I have this little book by my bed. And It's just a really nice reminder that we can surrender and know. So John O'Donohue writes, "May you be blessed in the holy names of those who, without you knowing it, help to carry and lighten your pain. May you know serenity when you are called to enter the house of suffering. May a window of light always surprise you. May you be granted wisdom to avoid false resistance. When suffering knocks on the door of your life, may you glimpse its eventual gifts. May you be able to receive the fruits of suffering. May memory bless and protect you with the hard-earned light of past travail, to remind you that you have survived before, and through the darkness now is deep, you will soon see the approaching light. May the grace of time heal your wounds. May the grace of time heal your wounds. May you know that though the storm might rage, not a hair on your head will be harmed. Not a single hair on your head will be harmed." And so, as we go out this week, connecting with our community, our friends, our family, and even those who have caused us upset, may we know that just with a gentle cosmicness, that God is in everything, and our opportunity to surrender, to just let go, is this divine blessing, this divine cosmicness that we all are. It's all within us. Our heaven is within us, and so it is.